everybody, and thank you for tuning in to Nizzy Sports Chat. I am your host, Nizzy, and in this video, you guys, we're going to be breaking down a little preview of the Raptors game coming up tonight versus the Boston Celtics. Raptors are looking to bounce back from a tough loss in their opening night on their first time playing in Toronto in the last couple of years, basically, since the start of the pandemic there. Had a rough go against the Washington Wizards. You guys ended up losing by a final score of 98-83. Hopefully the boys can bounce back and get a nice victory over the Boston Celtics tonight. Both teams are going to be scrapping and clawing for a win here in this game, you guys, as the Celtics also lost in a double overtime upset by the New York Knicks by a final score of 138-134. So both teams are going to be searching for their first victory of the season. Right real quick before we go ahead and get into this video, you guys, if you go ahead and like this video if you like sporting content like this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're looking for more sporting content like this in the near future. I've been getting a lot of support lately, you guys, and I greatly appreciate it. We're going to keep coming out with as much content as possible for you guys. But without further ado, let's go ahead and start looking into this Raptors-Celtics game coming up tonight, you guys. Going to need a big-time bounce back from a couple of our key veteran players like OG and Fred VanVleet. Those guys did not have a good shooting performance whatsoever versus the Washington Wizards in Game 1. Ended up combining 8 of 37 from the field. Just an atrocious shooting night from probably your two top dogs on the team right now. Obviously, Kyle Lowry's gone. There's been a big turnover within the Raptors organization in the last couple of years. Seeing a lot of those veteran players exit the Raptors organization that were there for that championship run that we ended up making a couple years back there. So, new squad, got to get used to each other, got to get used to, playing in the regular season again. Obviously, it's nice to be back home in Toronto. Boys are going to have to get used to that as well, just being back there, obviously being in Tampa for a full season, being on the road for 72 games last year. It's going to be a little bit of an adjustment period being back in the North again. Obviously, we got a lot of young players on the squad now as well. A couple big-time rookies here. Those guys are going to just have to continue to progress and improve as the season goes along here. You can't expect greatness coming out of these guys, after one game here. It's an 82-game season, so I'm not too choked or upset about that loss to the Wizards, you guys. It is what it is. I really like to see the fight that we brought to the table at the end of that third quarter and throughout the fourth quarter. Delano Banton was outstanding, you guys. That half-court heave that he ended up hitting, I believe, is at the end of the third quarter while time expired. Ended up banging that one home. He was just making some plays. He was an energizer bunny all over the court. Decent passing ability from the guy, too. Had a couple nice no-look feeds there. Had a couple nice drives to the rack for the lay-in as well. Just all around, I loved what I seen from Delano Banton in that game. Like, he was, in my eyes anyways, you guys, he was one of the big reasons that we even were able to get back into that game and have a respectable score when the game did finish off. Like I said, it was 98-83, but it easily could have been like 110-70 at one point in the game. Like, we were not scoring whatsoever. It wasn't really until that point when they decided to take all the starters out about midway through the third, closer to the end of the third quarter. They got guys like Delano Banton, Scotty Barnes in there, and a couple other bench players just to, see how they would end up holding up there. I thought they did a phenomenal job scrapping and clawing to get us back into the game. I was kind of confused why Nick Nurse decided to put all the starters back in there. I know we were closing the gap, but I kind of liked the rotation that we had out on the floor there in that fourth quarter when we were closing that gap. And then as soon as OG and Fred come in, OG had the one nice three ball to keep it close there, and then him and Freddie ended up missing a couple more shots down the stretch. Wasn't able to get us any closer to kind of get us under 10 there. 10-point margin against the Wizards there, and then they ended up pulling away on us again in the final minutes of that fourth quarter. But at the end of the day, when you're down almost 30 points and you end up scrapping and clawing and fighting to get back into it and have a 15-point deficit at the end of the game, I just like the fact that the boys kept fighting, even though they probably didn't have a chance to win it from the third quarter onwards anyways. But at least they gave, a valiant effort, got us back into the game, made it look like it was an actual game. A little bit of excitement for the home crowd as well. Obviously, the first time the boys playing back in Scotiabank Arena in Toronto there for first time in a couple of years, to be honest, you guys, right? So it's been, I think it'll be 2 years in this March. So just about 2 years that they haven't played a game in Toronto. Sure, it was nice. There's probably a lot of nerves just that had to get settled in there, obviously, with all the home fan base being there. Packed stadium for the Toronto Raptors home opener there, so you could expect the guys to have a little bit of nerves going. I expect them to just get settled in here as the season progresses along nicely. It's going to be a a learning curve for this team, obviously, with all the young players on the squad. We can't expect to be, number one contenders in the first week of the season. I think this is going to be a team that is going to consistently get better as the season goes along. I think our best basketball is definitely ahead of us here. Tough matchup tonight against Boston. Obviously, they ended up losing that double overtime game to the Knicks there, 138 to 134. So they're pretty choked up about that one. I'm sure they wanted to take that one home for the opening night. Weren't able to do it. Jaylen Brown went off for them too with 46 points in that game. Jason Tatum was a little more quiet, but Jaylen Brown was an absolute beast in that game. We're going to have to contain this guy. We're also going to have to try and contain Jason Tatum if we're going to want to have a chance to win against the Celtics here tonight, you guys. They got a pretty solid team here, and we're still kind of working through some things on our own squad. A lot of rookies, like I said, getting involved in and getting heavy minutes there. Scotty Barnes, getting 30 minutes a night. I'm hoping Delano Banton's going to get more minutes tonight. He never came in, I believe, until that third quarter stretch there. Halfway through the third quarter, he never played in the first half. So I'd like to see him getting involved a little bit earlier in this game. Really liked what I seen from him, especially on the defensive side of the ball, just bringing that energy, being able to close out on the three-point line, blocking some shots. Just a high energy guy. Obviously a Canadian as well, so it's nice to see a Canadian guy doing well for us. Boucher had a bit of a rough game as well there. Looked a little bit rusty. Obviously never got any action in the preseason there. Was overcoming some injury adversity. Still dealing with a bit. I believe he had a dislocated finger that he's been dealing with as well, so that could be part of the deal on why he was not looking too hot from the three-point arc in the game versus the Wizards. So hopefully, that finger gets better here in the weeks to come and his shooting stroke starts to fall into form here. Because he was one of our best three-point shooters last season. One of the breakout candidates on our team last year. So I expect once he gets things rolling here and kind of gets his legs under him a little bit, I expect Boucher to have a big season for us here, you guys. Scotty Barnes a little bit up, a little bit down in this first game. I thought he played pretty well all around, though. 12 points, 9 boards. Did a little bit of everything. You could see his passing ability was on par for the game. His energy and his intensity out on the floor was there. Like I said, we just didn't have the shooting stroke going for us in game one. Hopefully we can ignite that flame here tonight against the Celtics. I believe they're 6.5-point favorites over us on the point spread there. So hopefully the Raptors can pull off an upset here tonight against Boston and take home the W. I would love to get your guys' opinion in the comment section down below. What do you think our chances are of taking down the Celtics tonight? I believe we got a back-to-back coming here. I think we got Dallas tomorrow as well. So how do you guys think we're going to be able to fare on our first back-to-back in the season? Like I said, we'd love to get your guys' opinion in the comment section down below. But other than that, you guys, that's going to be about it for this video. Just thought I'd come out with a quick one before the Raptors game kicks off here in a couple hours. Go ahead and like this video if you like sporting content like this. Subscribe to the channel if you're looking for more sporting content like this in the near future. Been getting a lot of support lately, you guys, and I greatly appreciate it. Thanks for watching this video, and this is Nizzy with Nizzy Sports Chat.